Plain and simple. To me, Abigail was a delicious poison, an intoxicating, overwhelming poison. Yowie wowie!
Oh my gosh. The White Rabbit uh, not only has invaded WWE, but apparently my sound. So I apologize to everyone. I apologize to everyone. Yeah, that was a little bit crazy. I am coming to you from an undisclosed location,
Oh,
aka work.
pork.
Um, so my apologies, everyone, for I didn't let him in. I didn't let him in soon enough. That's what it
Nope,
was.
that's what it
That's
was.
what it was. I didn't let him in soon enough. My apologies for us being a few minutes late. But if as long as Jody doesn't have any objections, we might make that up to everyone and stay a couple minutes later if that's okay. So,
Yeah,
awesome, awesome, because we have a little bit to
a
talk
lot.
about. Yeah, there's a whole lot to talk about. So, as always, I am joined by our Abby, Jodie Gilly. Jody, how are you today?
Fantastic.
Good, good. I know you're probably doing a little bit better now, especially that we're getting all this stuff, and it seems like this reveal might be happening sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Uh, I've kind of said this since the White Rabbit stuff started. There's only one person that I know can go this deep and be this creative with it and come up with all these clues that lead to another clue and another clue and another clue and another clue. And that's Bray Wyatt.
Yes, yes, indeed. It's just a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna welcome in some folks because we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get to. So let me welcome in some people. If I miss you, I apologize. The chat has been going crazy apparently. So if I miss you, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna run through this real quick, and then we'll get going. Jody's in the chat, so Jody, erase your mind. James Grant, the Moldy Spoon. Hello, Dylan McClure. James Chadwick, Tim Johnson, Bonkers. Let's see here. Christopher, I think I said James already. Odin's son. Wrestling Lane, Dalton Riley, and let's see here. Deanna. Hello. Annette Morris. Cookie Kid on Fire. Alicia P. Let's see who else here. Shane Loki. What's up?
We're missing Rare Kitty Balloonicorn.
I know Anthony Slay. I was just looking. I was looking for that name. I was like, where in the world is Rare Kitty Balloonicorn? Diana, Brandon Wayne Lewis, Random Gamer, the Will Jacks Effect, Seven Fiend, Moda is in the house, Jeremy Stewart, Sean Suslowitz, TJ Gilligan, Gilligan. I'm thinking about Gilligan's Island.
Oh,
Raglan,
there's
Ricky
Rare
Mush.
Kitty Balloonicorn.
There you go, Rare Kitty Balloonicorn. There we go. Big Dan, OD Bars, Harry, Anthony, Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809. Don't you even think about it, device. EJ Movement, Richard says newbie in the house. Howdy, y'all. What's up, Richard? Welcome to the rabbit hole. Welcome to the rabbit hole. Brother Toot Toot. What's up, man? I have not seen your name before, so welcome. Anthony C. Brooks, JB, the Fiend 94, John G, John Chessman, Craven. Gosh, there's a lot of people here.
Woohoo!
Brother Toot Toot with the donation. Thank you so much. Um, Manny, what's up, Manny? Erase your mind saying Skipper. Uh, Miss Susie. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. We got over 80 people here right now, so thank you. And I know other people are going to be joining. So, Jody, before we get into all of the news that is the White Rabbit, I know you have a quick Caleb's Corner that you want to go over. So, let's go to Caleb's Corner and then we'll get cracking on all the White Rabbit and White Rabbit news going on.
Okay. So if you're new to our channel, we have this little segment in the beginning about Caleb Johnson, who is a fantastic musical artist. And one of my favorites. I've met him several times. He's a sweetheart. Anyway, so I just like to keep tabs on kind of what he's up to. He posted on Instagram today that he's going to have some new merch dropping, some new t-shirts. So I'm definitely going to have to jump on that because that is a badass looking t-shirt right there. He is also about to go on tour with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, starting November the 16th and go until the end of the year. Prior to that, he's going to be a performer on the Kiss Cruise. I think they're done with the Bat shows for this year until next year. Don't hold me to that. But the Bat show will be going out next year. They'll be touring the UK. I will be at the show in London in May of next year. But if you have not seen Caleb Johnson live, and this is not even just about Caleb Johnson, like obviously he's amazing, but if you have not been to a Trans-Siberian Orchestra show, trust me, go do it. Like it is one of the hands down the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life. Obviously try to catch one. There's two different branches. There's a East Coast and a West Coast tour. Caleb is going to be on the East Coast tour. So all of those dates up there. So if he's anywhere near you, go see Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Caleb is one of the singers. The whole show is just amazing. You'll be sitting there with your jaw on the floor looking at all the lights because it's just something else. It's a whole nother experience. So yeah.
There you go. Caleb's Corner, brought to you by Jody. So there you go. There you go. All right. We've got a little bit to talk about. A little bit. Eric has joined us. What's up, Eric? Let's see who else. Sean Suslowitz, I think I said. Odin's son with the donation. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. So we've got to get to some news here.
some breaking news.
So, you know what? That gives me a chance to use it, right? That gives me a chance to use the breaking news graphic. So, thank you, Jody, for giving me that.
That's one of my favorite graphics. I love it.
So, thank you for that. So obviously we got a lot over
the past week.
We've had a lot over the past week since we were last talking to all of you. We found out that that this reveal is supposed to happen a lot sooner rather than later, and we figured out that this was supposed to happen possibly at Extreme Rules. So
that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen in person,
right?
That's kind of my theory. I think we will find out who is behind the White Rabbit, but not necessarily with them physically interrupting something. I am imagining a video package of some sort.
A video package of some sort. So let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna mute real quick. I want you to go into detail of how you would like to see this happen at Extreme Rules.
I mean, obviously you'd love for, Bray to show up in person and do something diabolical, because that would be, but because this has been such a slow burn along the way, and we've gotten little pieces of things that gradually get a little bit more detailed. That's kind of why I feel like it's going to continue a little bit to be a slow burn, kind of like how the Funhouse was when it first started. You didn't see the Fiend for several episodes, so I kind of think this is what we're going to get this time around. I think on Saturday at Extreme Rules, we will get some kind of video package that maybe interrupts who their first target is going to be. I think all of these clues along the way are people that initially I kind of thought, well, maybe this is going to be a new faction of some sort. But now I'm kind of starting to feel like they're the targets. So other people that have been referenced in all these videos and teasers, I think they're the targets. So I think we will get some kind of video package interrupting a match, a particular match. I think I'm feeling the Edge match, possibly. Get some kind of video package interruption. I don't think it'll be super detailed or long or anything. I mean, I could see it as simple as, the lights going out and you see Windham's face and he starts laughing and then it goes off. Which would really screw with your head a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I could see it being something as simple as that. Like you just see Bray laughing, or just come out and say a one sentence line, and that's it. Just to kind of tease it a little bit more. Maybe he comes on screen and just says, "I'm coming for you," but doesn't say who he's coming for. Was he saying that to Finn Balor? Was he saying it to Edge? Like, we don't really know. So, yeah, I definitely think it's not going to be an in-person thing. I think this is going to be some kind of video package that's going to reveal who is behind the White Rabbit, which I think everybody's pretty much resigned to that it's Bray.
I think everyone has pretty much said that to this point, that it is him. The reports are indicating that that's the possibility, that he's the person behind this. So I have to ask this too, and I want to ask this to the chat. If he doesn't show up on Saturday, which, wow, the fact that it's this Saturday coming up, that we might get some resolution to all of this. If he doesn't show up Saturday, when would you have him show up? Would you have him show up at Raw on next Monday, or would you tease this out and have him do some vignettes leading to maybe Halloween?
I think you could definitely have him do either. C Wrestling pointed out something earlier that kind of made me think about it a little bit, about in Alice in Wonderland, the White Rabbit's pocket watch was 2 days behind. And if you think 2 days behind after the pay-per-view is Raw. So it definitely could be Monday that he actually shows up in person, or we get some kind of bigger video package. But I could definitely see it being Raw after Extreme Rules.
Raw after Extreme Rules. I know some people are saying, that a lot of people are talking about the Halloween episode of Raw. Some people think that's a little too on the nose. Some people think, hey, if we're getting these teases now and we see him in some capacity,
maybe his first match is on the Halloween episode of Raw.
Right. Exactly. So, some people are some people are saying, let's just go ahead and have them now. Like, let's just go ahead and have them on Monday after Extreme Rules. So,
I mean, we would have had him 11 months ago, but
yes, he would have never been away from us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. The
But if
chat
this is what he's been doing for the past year,
yeah,
is creating this rabbit hole of clues and hinting at this new character, and okay.
yeah,
It wouldn't be the first time that he's done that.
yeah. I want to say this too. I think it'll be really interesting, and James Chadwick brought this up. Do it at the end of Extreme Rules, because if you do it anywhere before the main event, WWE, not that you're listening to us, but if you are, just know that if you do it before the main event, the rest of your show is
Isn't
going
gonna
to be
matter.
irrelevant.
No.
It's just not going to matter to Bray fans, honestly.
So it's going to be interesting to find out what the main event is.
Yes.
I think that's going to speak volumes on what exactly could happen.
Yeah.
If that main event is, Edge and Finn Balor, if it's, I don't know. It just depends what the main event is. I think that's going to speak volumes on how we could see that going down.
Yeah. Yeah. Alicia P saying, would you be angry if it's to promote his movie?
No. I don't really see WWE getting into that. His movie kind of feels like from what I understand about it, it's a personal thing. So I can't imagine really WWE going this deep to promote a movie, even if it is Bray's movie. Yes, James Chadwick, the movie is real. But the last time I talked to Windham about it, it's kind of a labor of love. He's, we already know what a perfectionist he is about things. So, yeah, the movie is definitely real, but it's going to take a little longer than I think we initially all expected.
Yeah, and I think people wanted it soon because we miss him so much.
Yeah.
And you miss seeing him on TV, so it's like hopefully we get to see him sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Tim Johnson brings up a good point. The movie is real. Indie picks take forever in post-production.
Yep.
That is very true. Very true. Dalton Riley says, what if all these clues are a part of the big plot of the character?
I mean, it definitely could be. That was something that I was thinking about too. Like, he might not be the White Rabbit if this is some kind of faction, but he's behind it, if that makes sense. So what if he's not the White Rabbit? He's just behind the White Rabbit. And, not a manager, but like, you know what I mean? He's the creator of all of this stuff. That's definitely a possibility too, that he's behind it all, but not necessarily the single piece of talent as part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could have Cross be the White Rabbit, but Bray's still behind it. So you could bring other people into it. I know one name that's been, not thrown around, but we haven't really seen a lot of is Baron Corbin.
That would be fascinating. I don't know how some people feel about it, but I can tell you how I feel about it. I would love it. Something different for his character. I would really enjoy that. So,
yeah. The last thing we saw of Baron Corbin was him getting into a limo. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
And people people said that was JBL. What if it wasn't JBL? What if they play it off as if it's not JBL? What if he thought that, but maybe it wasn't? Just something to throw out there.
Yeah.
Just something to throw out there.
Mhm.
Eric saying Bray Wyatt isn't the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit leads you to Windham.
Mhm. Yeah. That's it, the White Rabbit leads you somewhere, not necessarily the White Rabbit is going to be a character of some sort. You know what I mean? Like the White Rabbit has taken us down this path of this national treasure type, you know, search, and it's, you know, been the road that we've taken, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're getting a White Rabbit character.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And James Chadwick kind of saying the same. Well, that's if the White Rabbit is a character that's
Yeah.
coming, could just be a thing that's hunting the character. If that makes sense, that makes a lot of sense, James. Makes a lot of sense. All right, so we're going to get to most of the things that we saw on Friday. There's no way, honestly, that we can get to everything
Oh my god.
because there's just so much. But let's get to it, Jodie. We got this on SmackDown. We saw the Revel in What You Are. Then we got that, got some sleuths on the case on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
because it harkens back to a tweet from Bray, Revel in What You Are, when Rob Schamberger, who's been on the show, put out this image, this art that he had out
So
there. And yeah, so what do you make of this, Jody, before we go down the rabbit hole even more and get into some Three Little Pigs?
I think it's just another clue. Um, and it does remind me a lot of when the Funhouse stuff started coming out, because we got the box and the buzzard, and it slowly built until we were like, okay, yeah, this is definitely Bray. And I feel like this has kind of been the same way. At first we were like, I don't know, it feels very Bray-ish, and now the further down the rabbit hole you go and you see all these connections between something that Bray said and Kyle's art that he's been tweeting, and all of these different connections that don't go anywhere else but to Bray. And if he's been making these connections and building this up for the past year, like, I mean, yeah. It just kind of makes you like in awe of his mind, because it's just like I was having a conversation with Kyle about him at one point, and he was like, I like, I can't remember his words exactly, but he was, I can't imagine what it's like being in his head. Like, and I think my response was, it's probably really loud.
That's that is his brain. To if we get to the bottom of all this, like you said, which I think is absolutely possible, plausible, and any other words that you want to use, the fact that anyone put this together, all these clues, tied everything together, and tied things in the way that they have, is just remarkable for people to be able to put this together creatively. I mean, it really is.
And if it does come out to be Bray, like, this is what I would imagine him being like if he's, I don't want to say unrestrained, but if you give him that creative freedom, this is what he's going to do with it. And it just proves that you should have given him that to him a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems, I will say this, it seems as if there's a new a new path for WWE, and I for one am enjoying it. I like the direction that they're going in. So, um, yeah, I'm just I'm in awe of what they're doing. James Chadwick saying Bray is playing chess while we're playing checkers. Yes, that is.
I mean, even Seth did an interview earlier this week talking about, the Hell in a Cell match and how, Bray and him wanted it to go another way, and the boss wouldn't budge. And, he said, I would love to work with him again and kind of fix that. So I'm here for that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because they did some brilliant work. I mean,
Mm-hmm. And looking back, you can kind of, there are moments where I feel like you can tell when it wasn't Bray's idea, not because of something that he did or, an emotion that he was, expressing, but I think now looking back at everything that the Fiend did, there were definitely moments where you're like, that wasn't his idea.
Yeah.
Or, he would have done it that way. And I think the ending to that Hell in a Cell match was one of those moments. Like, it was such an amazing match, but the way it ended, it just didn't feel like Bray.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I think there were other moments like that too, but I don't know if that just shows that we've gotten a little bit more in tune with his creative process. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the elephant in, oh, I'm sorry, the big bad wolf in the room. Shall we? So we got a video, like we had another code and we got another video, and I thought this was interesting because um the web address to this had 1911 at the end of it, and it led us to this video, and it had the three little pigs,
Mm-hmm.
and if you've ever seen it, it had some other things in there. It had like a slaughterhouse and a pig, and all of those things. So I've got to ask, I got to ask you, and I'm going to ask the chat. What do you make of the three little pigs, and who in the world is the big bad wolf? Because, um, we got this image, but we also cut away to another image of a wolf.
Uh-huh.
So, what do we make of all of that? Who's playing what here?
Like, I still think these are all targets. And the big bad wolf, I think you could take that two different ways. You could take it down the route of, like Dana just said, with the big dog, Roman Reigns, or you could take it down the route of, this is where Baron Corbin comes into my brain.
The lone wolf.
Mm-hmm. But maybe it's not as literal as we think it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know I get what you're saying.
Maybe it's not as literal as who's the wolf, who's the three little pigs. Think about the story of the three little pigs. And kind of what the meaning behind that is, as opposed to who's the big bad wolf.
Yeah. James Grant is in my head. So I was just about to say this. James Grant is in my head. My theory is the piggies represent Bray's three old gimmicks. The wolf represent Vince trying to take away Bray's ideas. That's my theory. Get out of my head, James Grant.
I mean, if you put all of these little video packages and hints and everything together, you've had a rabbit, you've had a pig, you've had almost like you're starting to see all of the puppets like melding into these little video packages. So I wonder if the piggies kind of signify the puppets, and Husky Harris and Huskus.
Yeah. Moda asking a a very interesting question here. There were 3 pig heads hanging up, but only 2 bodies hanging up. So where did the other body go?
I don't know. Maybe
So,
the big bad wolf ate it.
hey, hey. And Eric Rousseau saying hints like the Firefly Funhouse puppets. Um,
Mhm.
Rainy Night Gamer. Maybe Hulk Hogan is the White Rabbit. Oh my goodness. So John G saying 3 little pigs equals the bloodline. The wolf equals Roman Reigns.
Mm, yeah, definitely. I just think like I said, I've felt more like there's um, hints in there about the puppets. So maybe tonight's video package might have a buzzard,
Yeah,
or you know what I mean.
yeah. Now I will say this, and Deanna brings up a good point. And Cookie Kid on Fire, I see that you put your comment there a couple times. So I'll get to it. I promise. Deanna saying, "Do we get a walrus reference this week or a witch?"
Mm. So we're missing a witch, a buzzard, and a walrus.
Yes, yes. So that's very interesting. Okay, now I'm gonna get the Cookie Kid on Fire. What if the White Rabbit is not brave, but is making us follow it to the hole where the Fiend is, and we get Fiend versus White Rabbit?
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely true.
See, wrestling is in the house, and of course, on right on time, saying the third body was sent away for sausages.
I mean,
Very good.
pork is good.
It is. It really is. Chad Schrader, what's up? Joe, what's up, Joe? Saying, feed your head, brother. Talking about Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Dalton Riley saying missing a witch and a buzzard. Um, let's see, Big Dan saying, like I said, with James Grant's theory vignettes where he talks about the machine consuming him make more sense to me. Maybe the big bad wolf represents Goldberg and the pigs,
Sorry.
Vince, Ace, and Khan.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I think if Bray's going back to WWE, he would be a little bit. I don't want to say this in an offensive way because it's not meant that way, but I feel like he would be a little bit more careful about what he says about people, particularly his old boss. I mean, there's certain no-go areas when you still work for the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you can say, that he can't vent his frustrations as far as like Seth Rollins just did, like the boss just wouldn't let us do what we wanted to do, uh, as opposed to, you know, sticking him in a pig slaughterhouse type
Yeah.
type of video package.
The Moldy Spoon saying, don't forget Friendship Frog.
Hmm.
We can't forget. You know what? R.I.P. Gone too soon. Way too soon.
I think you've got the four main ones though.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the rabbit, the pig, the buzzard, and the witch.
Yep.
The other ones kind of came into it, little as like little appearances, as opposed to, like, no offense to the wonderful characters that they were, but the original four were Abby, Mercy, Ramblin, and Huskus.
Yeah. Wow. This is a lot. I'm just gonna say this is a lot. Uh, let's see here. 1911. We got a few people talking about that, the significance of that. Ragnar is saying 1911 was when the silent movie, The Divine Comedy, aka Dante's Inferno, came out. Someone mentioned earlier about Peter Rabbit,
Mm-hmm.
um, a rare edition of that coming out then. Alice in Wonderland came out then, so there's a lot of references to that. Rainy Night Gamer also saying, also Bray years ago spoke about Steve not being stunning Steve Austin, and that being pushed onto Stone Cold as Husky was being pushed onto him, and
Mhm.
not being his true self.
Mhm.
Uh, the Fiend 94 saying the Big Bad Wolf is Bray because almost all his clues have wolves in them. In it, Maine and Kentucky has some legends about Wolfman.
Huh.
Um, yes, Alexa Bliss Gamer saying 1911 was on Bray's hat. Yes, and
Well, and it's funny at the time we were like, "What the heck does 1911 mean?"
yeah, like what does that mean? And
And
it,
it was on the clock too. It was 11:19, and we're like, "What the does that
yeah,
mean?"
yeah,
And now, what? A year later, year and a half later, we're sitting here going, "Damn it, Bray!"
which I know a lot of people have the theory, and I know Chris talked about this last week, but a lot of people have the theory that maybe he was just giving some time off. And if you think about that, the significance of that and bringing back old clues like that, I mean, it kind of lends itself to make you think that, right?
I mean, Bray's the master at doing that. Look at, you know, when the Fiend came out, it pretty much described the Man in the Woods that he did, what, 7 years before that?
Yeah.
So, I think I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know that when he did the original, when he did the Man in the Woods, I don't know if he had it in his head, I'm going to come out with this Fiend character. I think it was something that worked. And I'm not trying to say that in an offensive way either. It's possible that he had the Fiend character in mind when he did that video, but I think he uses things from the past and things that he has said in the past, different, video packages and stuff, and pulls from it and uses it for inspiration and kind of molds it into a new character or something like that.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong, and he had everything in his brain. I wouldn't put it past him. Um, but, he has an amazing memory. So I could definitely see him pulling things from the past that he's done in the past to help mold this new character.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Butler is saying we're following the rabbit and would be funny if the rabbit just leads to the fun house and Bray opens the door, picks up the rabbit, and is like, "Oh, hey guys, did you miss me?"
That is, out of everything that I want the first words that he says. Did you miss me?
Did you miss me?
Mm-hmm.
That would be tremendous if, if that were the case. So after everyone saw this video and kind of freaked out about it, I got to be honest with you, I didn't catch it until Saturday. But everyone started putting out things about it, and you know, the video had Morse code in it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. The second I heard it, so I actually was completely passed out. I had worked the night before and was completely exhausted, and I went to bed at like 4 o'clock that afternoon, and I didn't wake up until Saturday morning. So I slept through the entire thing. But the second that I saw that video and heard the Morse code, I said it to Chris. I said, "That's Morse code in it," and he goes, "Oh yeah, people have already jumped all over that." And apparently it translates to, I don't even know how to pronounce that.
me,
Azazel, reborn. Um, who it's actually in the Bible. And basically he was kind of like a sacrifice, like a, back in the old days of Leviticus and the Old Testament, that, you know, as opposed to Jesus coming back and being the ultimate sacrifice. Before that happened, they had to have an actual sacrifice. for atonement of sins. So this person apparently was an evil spirit who was used as a scapegoat um, to cover the sins of Jewish people. They picked one um, for God and one for this demon, which is kind of an odd. If you read about it in the Bible, it's kind of a little odd for them to do that, but
and people are also saying that this is talking about the fallen angel, talking about the movie Fallen, and um Azazel, whatever it is, was the demon in it. So yeah, I mean,
I went as soon as I heard about that, and I went straight looking for it in the Bible, and it pops up quite a bit when it talks about these two ritual sacrifices.
interesting, very interesting stuff here. So so after that we got Sean Ross Sapp, who's been talking a lot about this lately, and he was
He
kind
is
of
so excited. Like, I love his excitement level. Like, I just love it.
yeah. Ragnar saying he's a demon that possesses people by touching them. So thank you. B Dog saying I've noticed no one has thought of 1911 this as the ones you get 39. WrestleMania 39 is coming up. Could it mean something?
Yeah.
I At this point, I think anything that you see with this White Rabbit stuff, anything that's been out there as you do research, I mean, Bray Wyatt, Windham Rotunda, whatever you want to call him, however you want to refer to him, I truly don't think that he does anything just by coincidence
No.
or just happenstance. I think everything has a meaning. Everything has its place and means something. No matter what it is. It can be the smallest of details, and it means something. So I think like even when you look at the White Rabbit and you see that you've got one side that doesn't have the red eye, but then you flip it over and it does. That has a meaning. That has a meaning. Now, what it is, don't ask me that because I have no clue.
There's only one person that does know.
That's it. That's it. I mean, one person definitively knows what that is and what that's about.
Maybe someday he will grace us with his presence and let us in on a couple of secrets.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so, because yeah, this is some of the coolest storytelling that that's been out there. And going back to Sean Ross Sapp, he talked about some of the codes that were there. Breaking down the audio that was put out there. Could you hear Bray's voice in it? There's also going back to the Morse code. What does anyone remember in the chat what the Morse code spelled out and what it led to? Because I'm trying to think of it. And I think it spelled out like Bel Air. It was Bravo.
That was it was the voice recording that when it left the phone number. Actually, it ended up putting it on TikTok too. So the account, the Come With Me account, it released the video, the video package of the Three Little Pigs, and underneath it was a phone number. And if you call the phone number, it's some weird, like demonic sounding voice, and if you reverse it, it spells out Bel Air in like Bravo, Echo, Lima. And then after that, it said, I am the way into the city of woe. I am the way to eternal sorrow, which was another thing that was referenced by Bray back in the day.
In this very promo.
and he talked about the city of woe way back then. So
Again, little nuggets dropped throughout the years.
mm-hmm.
I don't think this is coincidence.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think this is coincidence. Um, and then, of course, we had to get some Kyle Scarborough tweets.
Oh, of
like we
course.
had to.
Of
So,
course.
so Kyle puts this, these tweets out, and he puts the pig head out there. He puts the wolf. Everything changes. Nothing perishes. Then he goes back to Jesse Cage's tweet about the cult of Windham, and
Mm-hmm.
he says maybe someday. So, Jodie, there's so much.
Kyle knows stuff.
He knows. Yeah, he knows.
God bless him. I know that I bug him entirely too much, but it would not surprise me if both Kyle and Jason Baker are involved in the look of this new character.
Wouldn't surprise me in the
No.
least bit. I honestly, I cannot wait for the day, and I'm really hoping against hope that this happens, really, really soon. But we see this look, and there's a few other questions that I want to ask you, but that we see this look, and eventually we get, hey, here's the art behind it, and here's the behind the scenes, from Jason Baker.
Mhm.
But oh my God, I'm so excited to see where this goes. So I have to ask, because I know someone mentioned it a little bit earlier. One of the things that we haven't seen overtly referenced, or maybe we have, is Sister Abigail.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think she plays into this? Because, and I'm sorry to the person that mentioned this, but could she have a huge role in all of this?
Well, she always has. So I definitely think she's going to be involved in this somehow, just because she's a big part of Bray. I don't think that we've quite seen how it's going to play in yet.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sea Wrestling just brought up a good point.
I like that. Big Bad
I
Wolf.
like that too.
Final Fun House. It will be big. It will be bad. It will be strong.
Interesting to note, though, if you go back and watch that last episode of the Funhouse, Abby is the only one that he doesn't heal.
Mm.
Does that mean something? Well, of course it does. But, he heals Mercy. He heals Ramblin' Rabbit. And he goes to heal Abby and he says, "Be gone." So what does that mean? Like, is he finally going to be rid of her? But he also said that he would never let her rest. So I don't really know how that's going to play into it. I would imagine that, yes, she will play a big role because she's a big part of who he is.
I like that. I
will say Kyle has agreed when he's able, he said when he's able to come back on Abby's and have a conversation.
So that, again, that's some more breaking news for all of you. So that's awesome. Hanzo, thank you for the donation, saying hello to my two favorite people in the world. Sorry I'm late. Hope you're both well. Can't wait for Saturday. It's going to be wild. He's nearly home. It certainly feels that way.
Definitely does.
Yeah. Erase your mind. What about the issue of White Rabbit Records in Kentucky playing along with the WWE White Rabbit mystery?
Why wouldn't they?
Hey,
hell, I would too.
Cash in on it.
Right? Like, all the publicity that they're getting, I would too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rainy Night Gamer. Sorry about that. I completely it was so many comments ago. So thank you. Yeah, you brought up this information about Sister Abigail, and Abigail. So yeah, thank you. Eric saying he'll never let Abby out of purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Alexander Hall saying I'm interested in what will happen um, on Raw tonight. So again, all of this stuff has just made every show must watch and can't miss.
Yeah.
So Jody, look into your crystal ball. Look into that crystal ball. What do you see happening? Like, what do you think we get tonight, and what do you think we get Friday night?
I think tonight we get another QR code. I think Friday will be something similar. Because I feel like that will make 6
Yes.
little video packages if they do one tonight on Raw and one on SmackDown. SmackDown's also the go home show before Extreme Rules. So that's another reason why I feel like we're going to find out who's behind all this at Extreme Rules, because we've had 6 video packages or whatever they are, 6 clues that led to a bazillion more clues, but 6 original clues. So I think we get another QR code tonight. Have no idea I don't even know what's going to be in it anymore. I would think, if I'm correct about the puppets being referenced, that maybe we get a buzzard reference or a witch reference, one tonight and then one on Friday.
Yeah.
I think each one has gotten a little bit more overt on the potential of it being Windham. So I think that's where it's going.
Yeah.
I think they gradually, the last 2 are going to get a little bit more overt, that we're just sitting there on Friday going, yep,
It's
definitely great. I mean, I feel like a lot of us are already sitting here like,
yeah.
It can't be anybody else at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, and I think I said this last week, but kudos to WWE for doing this, because it's gotten the entire wrestling world buzzing. I mean, everyone is talking about this. This is, I mean, it's major news. So kudos to them. Deanna saying, what if we don't find out who's behind it, but leads us to another hunt? Moda saying maybe Abigail the witch killed the world, and that was her reference, since we only have 2 more clues and 3 characters to show. That's interesting. Let's see. Richard Bird saying we got a witch reference when Lacey pulled out the broomstick.
Yeah. I know C talked about that on his video, and he and I talked a little bit about that too. I think that's definitely possible that was a reference. But we haven't seen anything within the QR codes, within these little video packages, that references Abby or a witch. So that's why I feel like, yes, what Lacey Evans doing is definitely, could definitely be a clue. I think we get something in a video package if these are all relating to the puppets.
Wealthy Bridge saying the reason Bray said be gone to Abby is because Abby is like the bad girl of the house, and the Fiend doesn't like her because she thinks she runs the place. Ragnar, we talked about this a little bit last week, but Ragnar saying, do we get Code Orange? You want to remake rock version of the White Rabbit song?
I don't know that the White Rabbit song is going to be used as an entrance. I think it potentially is just a clue.
Think it's just a clue.
I don't necessarily feel like it's going to be an entrance song. I don't know. It could be.
Could be.
I don't see it being an entrance music song unless somebody redoes it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if they did whatever they do, I'll put it like this. If they were to remake that song, it would be the most downloaded thing. That would be downloaded so many times, it would be ridiculous. Like it'd be crazy.
Mhm.
So yeah. All right. I've seen people mention that Wyndham is the key. They're talking about we've talked about a different gimmick, that kind of thing. So do we get him as Wyndham? Um, do we get something different? Like what do you think we get? And chat, I'm going to ask you the exact same question. Do we get Wyndham? What do we get? Who do we get?
I think we get Wyndham.
You think we get Wyndham?
I think this is going to be an evolution of his prior characters.
So you think it'll be like a do you think it'll be like a combination of everything? What I mean,
I think that's possible. Um, but I think Wyndham is one of those people that's always evolving himself. And there were parts of Cult Leader Bray in the Funhouse and the Fiend characters. Obviously, he brought back Cult Leader Bray for certain feuds. So I think that there's going to be elements of all of it in this new character, but I do think it's going to be a new persona.
I think whatever it is going to be great.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's going to be freaking awesome.
It's gonna be tremendous. So whatever we get, I'm excited for us to get it for sure. So all right, here's the and hello Caleb. Hello to anyone that we've missed. We got over 120 people here right now. So I'm gonna drop this in real quick. If you could, please drop a like on the video if you're here. Like I said, we got over 120 something people here, so we definitely want to see as many thumbs up as possible. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. We do this show every week, every single week. So come back and join us. And we got a lot of other content too. We've got Impact Wrestling. We've got our weekly show Between the Ropes with the Insiders. So come join us on every other Sunday for that. Eric saying he's always evolving, always has, always will. Wyndham the Wolf says Ragnar. Epic Games saying Bray Wyatt is our Undertaker, new generation Undertaker. I think that's very that's honestly, I think with this generation,
I don't know that he would feel worthy of that comparison. We can say that about him, but I don't know that he would believe that about himself.
Yeah. Like a lot of us see, I mean, especially with what Undertaker even said that. Yeah. I mean, especially with what the style of the gimmick, the horror aspect of the of the Fiend. I mean, that's a lot of horror movies and stuff sell these days. People are into horror now, maybe more so than ever. I mean, maybe you can point back to the 80s and late 70s when the slasher films began and people began to look at Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and really idolize them. But we're seeing a lot of horror kind of take center stage now, so it makes sense to have that in wrestling today, and to have a character like the Fiend or like Bray Wyatt, who's done a lot of the supernatural things that tie in. That I mean, it makes sense. And like you said, Jody, he probably would be like, I don't know about that, but yeah. when Undertaker says it, believe it.
Speaking of horror, this is completely off topic. If you guys have Shudder, the Shudder app, they are doing a series called the 101 Scariest Horror Movie Moments. And they're counting down. So they started at 101 and they're counting down. And they upload a new episode every Wednesday. Go watch that. If you are a horror fan, the amount of times, and I had to message Jason Baker about this last night, the amount of times that Tom Savini is on that dang countdown because of some makeup that he did, or, you know, the special effects makeup, you know, stuff that he did. Like, he's all over that countdown.
Yeah. I mean, the man is an icon.
I mean, he's been around so long that you almost forget all the things that he did.
Yeah.
And just seeing all of the stuff, like the, you know, Creep Show and Friday the 13th, and, you know, him talking about and seeing him being interviewed and talking about creating these movie moments, and especially with the Friday the 13th stuff and him talking about all of that. Like, I just had to message Jason Baker and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
I said, Tom Savini's on another level.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I know that Jason is very honored and proud to, you know, work with him. And props to Jason Baker, by the way. They've opened a new studio and a new space. And he told me last night they're working on a major motion picture.
Wow.
So that's pretty awesome. And Tom Savini's like one of their major consultants, I guess would be the right word. So still working with him to some extent, and that's awesome. So
wow. All right, Jodie. So we're about to start wrapping this up. The one thing I want you to get into this, because you had a great, I saw one of your tweets and it was great, talking about how people have said some things in the past, and, you know, some people may have short memories, but a lot of us don't. We remember some of the things, and I'll let you talk a little bit about that. I want to ask you about that. But one thing I want to say here, and maybe this isn't my place, maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So, love it or hate it, I'm gonna say it. This stuff is just fun. It's fun to theorize.
mm-hmm.
It's fun to go down these rabbit holes.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. And I think one of the things that I've seen that I don't like is people automatically shooting other people's theories down. I'll just say this. Just let people have fun. A lot of us are gonna be right about things, and a lot of us are gonna be wrong about things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine, because you know what? It's a part of the journey. Let everyone have the journey.
Yeah. And, you know, Bray is one of those people that absolutely adores his fans. And, you know, he reads a lot more than you think he does. He knows who his core fans are, and yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. He sees a lot more than what we give him credit for, like you said. All right, so you got to talk about that tweet, because I was feeling that tweet when you threw that out there, saying we don't forget.
No, it's if some persona of Bray Wyatt is not your cup of tea, that's fine. But, you know, don't be a clout chaser. Just, he's not one to forget things either. Like I said, he has a fantastic memory, and um, he I'm sure he wants to see people have fun with it and just enjoy themselves and talk about wrestling and theorize and you know um, just have fun with it. If it's not your thing, then it's not your thing. Change the channel, like
Don't watch. Don't.
and my big thing is, and C Wrestling can attest to this too, because he and I have had conversations about it. It's not a competition either.
No.
Like, yeah, both us and C Wrestling cover similar content, especially when it comes to Bray, but he and I aren't in competition with each other. In fact, we work together a lot of the time, and he and I talk pretty much on a daily basis because it's not a competition. It's just about having fun and enjoying the road, enjoying the ride, and doing it together and enjoying things together, and
Yeah.
so it's not a competition. Just
Nope.
enjoy what you enjoy, and keep going on this ride with us and C Wrestling and Bray, um and we'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, let's be honest. There's enough of this stuff out there. There's enough to break down for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
There's what, like probably over 50 channels that have been covering all the White Rabbit stuff, and
yeah.
every one of them has brought a little something different, and every one of them has brought something different to the table, and I've enjoyed watching them all.
Yeah.
As soon as Raw and SmackDown are over, I'm gonna go watch C's video. So yeah, I watch a lot of them, and get ideas from some of them. Like, I love reading about all this stuff on Twitter. Like, everybody's got different inputs and different things that they're noticing, and it just makes it fun.
It's just a ton of fun. Like, it really is. It makes doing this so much fun because you can just go off on different tangents and break down so many different things. So I mean,
and I think that was the intent when it comes to Windham. Like, he wants us to study things. Kyle said that when he was on our show one of those times, that when we were talking about zooming in on that piece of artwork that he posted, and zooming in on different pieces of it, and he said, good, that was the intent.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believe that Windham feels the same way, that he wants us to study him.
And it's been fun doing so, and it will continue to be fun doing so, because I mean, look at how many people is brought here tonight just to talk about him. So yeah, I mean, this is tremendous. And to the people out there that have something to say about us being fans and breaking these things down, just because you don't get it doesn't mean that other people can't have fun. It doesn't mean that at all. So I'm just I'm happy that this is all happening, because honestly, I've got to say this, Jodie. I got to say this. There have been some weeks over this past year that we were like, what are we going to talk about today? And, just to let people behind the scene, there have been days where we're like, what are we going to talk about? And we find something to talk about, because there's always something to talk about.
Yeah.
But now, with all of this, it just seems like even more people are into this and enjoying this, and that makes this so much fun, and makes what we do, and
more fun.
I mean, it's a lot of fun to talk about all this, and especially with you and all of the people in the comments. It's so much fun, and
it's hard to wrap your brain around that we've been doing this for over 2 years.
Yeah.
The show has been around for over 2 years, and half of that, Bray wasn't even on TV, but we found stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's always been an easy person to talk about. Like I said earlier, like he makes it easy because there's so many hidden clues that you can go back and look for.
Yeah.
And you know, he's been really awesome with posting things at a very opportune times, intentionally or not. You know, and he's been really great about that. So
Yeah. And Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 just brought up something. This could very well be the last Abby's window without him back. What next time we do this, which I'll say this, you know, and yes, Joe and I are going to be at Impact this weekend. We're not doing the watch along for Extreme Rules. It's going to be on Tazzy's channel. But when if this happens, which I feel like it will, this reveal that's going to happen Saturday, or something that's going to happen.
Oh, you're gonna clip that live reaction for sure.
Not only that, but Jodie, if you're down, I'm going to rush home, and I'd love to do a live reaction for Abby's window Saturday night.
Of course.
What say you?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. So we're going to be reacting to this thing after it happens. So I'm going to get out of Impact and going to come back here. We're going to do Abby's, and then we'll be back again next Monday. This could very well be the last time we're talking about all this stuff with him not back. So this is exciting.
Stop it! You're making me cry. Nope, no tears.
No tears. And if there are tears, they're tears of joy. So just know that this has been a lot of fun. Jodie, any final words before we go? We kept people until 7:17, which is because of my faux pas with my no, it's the White Rabbit's fault. Or
Yep.
maybe it's the wolf. Maybe the wolf, did something to the audio. So any final words before we go?
I'm really looking forward to Saturday and looking forward to seeing him back on TV, and we all really miss him and he knows that. Looking forward to seeing him in November, and I know a lot of people tonight have mentioned about having him on the show, and we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just stay tuned. I'll say this about this channel: stay tuned because we're working on some big things.
There's some big things in the works.
Yeah, so just stay tuned. Just keep your eyes on our channel, and that's why we say subscribe, because you never know who's going to be on here. You just never know. I mean, not many places have Kyle Scarborough. Not many places have had Jason Baker. I mean, yeah, thank you, Big Dan, for putting that idea in my head. Yes, I got to credit Big Dan for putting that idea in. So yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Jodie, this has been a great ride, and looks like it's only going to continue even more, and we'll have lots and lots to talk about as we go forward.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I am too. I am too. Epic Games by Wint. You never know. He could be watching. Well,
I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is that he is aware of the show because I mentioned it to him last time I saw him in person and kind of said, "When you coming on my show, Brat?" And he knew, he knew exactly what I was talking about. So he knows we're here.
Yep. He knows. He's aware. Jodie, what do you say? We do this again on Saturday night? All right.
Yep.
We'll do it. We'll do it on Saturday night. Wow. Thank all of you for sticking around. Still over 100 people as we get ready to wrap this thing up.
I'm pretty sure we could stay on for another hour and they'd be fine with it.
Yeah, we could. But Really, thank you all of you for joining. Always got to be one. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you all for joining us tonight. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. That's what we are here. We're a family. And if you don't mind, drop a like on the video. Let us know what you thought of it, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Helps us get seen out there. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. We love you all. Until next time, thank you so much for joining, and we're going to talk about this thing again on Saturday night. So come join us. Good night.